Hey guys, Jason here. Welcome back to another video here on the channel. And today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite albums of all time. And I went over it when I went over my top 10 when me and Rody, who if you would watch the live stream I did on my birthday where we did the our top 10 favorite albums of all time, I mentioned this in here. But today we're going to be reviewing QueensRyche's third album from 1988, Operation Mindcrime. And without further ado, let's get into it. So, Operation Mindcrime, QueensRyche. This is probably my favorite concept album. Usually, I do like concept albums with stories. But my favorite sort of concept albums are loose concept albums. This is not a loose concept album. This, actually has a story to it that's supposed to fit the concept, which I'm going to get into. But the whole reason why I bring up this whole point about concept albums, before we actually get into in depth of this, is most concept albums like this, like Operation Mindcrime, you sort of have to listen to the album to know what's supposed to, happen to even, really understand the concept. You can't just listen to, one or two songs and hope to, really get value out of those particular songs. For example, there's a lot of prog records, of course, that are concepts because they're making long songs. For example, Dream Theater, all the Dream Theater concept albums, Scenes from a Memory, for example. There's only one song that really fits as a song, and it's the song that everyone knows from the album, and it's Dance of Eternity. But all the other songs, they sort of don't, they feel like songs that you have to listen to the album for them to really be, for them to really, I shouldn't say be good, but for you to really, really get something out of it. But this album's sort of different, at least for me. With Operation Mindcrime, I don't really have to listen to the whole album. If you, and even for one point when I was first getting into QueensRyche, I didn't even listen to the whole album. I just listened to the songs. And you don't really have to understand the concept to fall in love with the songs, because all the songs are great. The guitar work is great. Jeff Tate's voice is great on this album. And so let's actually get into more into this. And before I go track by track, I'm just gonna before I go track by track and then give you all what the concept is, a little gist of what the concept is if you haven't heard the album, I'm just gonna talk about the time when this came out. So it was 1988. Operation Mindcrime by QueensRyche came out. And QueensRyche, they were one of these bands that sort of, didn't really fit into a category, because in the 80s, you had all the hair metal bands like Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, Def Leppard, etc., that were all coming out around this time, and then you also had heavier thrash things, and then you had the beginning of progressive metal. So, especially these first three albums, I would say with QueensRyche, you can't really put this band in a box, and that's why they never really got mainstream. They never really got mainstream until their fourth album. The album after that, Empire. When that album came out, of course, they had their hit that everyone knows, Silent Lucidity, and then they had, they did music videos for some of the songs and stuff like that. But when Operation Mindcrime came out, it was sort of a mixed opinion. I remember, hearing when I did my research. I remember hearing, it was sort of a mixed opinion. There were people that wanted mainstream stuff, that wanted QueensRyche to go mainstream, and I think their label was like trying to push them to go more mainstream, if I remember correctly. And so when this album came out, it was sort of mixed, because all the metal fans and all the prog fans, they really got into it, but all the sort of just casual fans were not really vibing with QueensRyche. But once Empire came out, all that changed, and there was kind of an argument that sort of happened after Promised Land came out, which was their 1994 album. That's when like they went back to their progressive elements, so it was sort of a mixed thing again. People were used to the sound of Empire because they heard Empire, and then there were people that were used to the sound of Operation Mindcrime. So yeah, that's a basic sort of idea of what was going on around the time this album came out. And so, yeah. Now I'm going to tell you basically a synopsis of what the concept of this album is. So, Operation Mindcrime is it involves 3 characters in the story. We have Nikki, who's like our main protagonist, our main character. Nikki is assigned he was a drug addict, and he is basically assigned to go on these missions to kill political figures, because he is trying to he basically gets manipulated into this whole thing because of Dr. X. And Dr. X is the second character. Dr. X basically created this whole operation called Operation Mindcrime, and Nikki became involved in it, and the whole reason that Operation Mindcrime even exists is because because Dr. X and Nikki, they're trying to save America. And we learned throughout the album, he wants that a part of Nikki's mission is to burn the White House down, and we learned that in Speak, I think. And then we have our third sort of character in the mix, Mary. Throughout the time that Nikki is trying to complete the mission, Mary, that's when she becomes involved. She was a prostitute, and she's basically she's basically Nikki's love through this whole album. And then we learn later she is killed, and people still like debate theories on that. People were debating theories on that when that album came out. But later she is killed, and we learn like through the back half of the album of we basically see like Nikki sort of trying to cope with that sort of sentiment, like that that after Mary was killed, Nikki tried to run away from all this, didn't want to have anything to do with this, and of course Dr. X wasn't going to let that happen. And then we learn on the last song, Eyes of a Stranger, that Nikki is basically, he's ended up in a mental institution, and now he basically has to live with all the guilt that is happening. And we realize, like, throughout this, even the first track, which I'll get into, we realize, like, he's telling us this, Nikki is telling us this, like, from his perspective from what he remembers happening. And that's what we see in the first track. And now we're going to actually dive into the first track. So, first track is I Remember Now. And basically, to set up the whole concept, or to set up the whole mood of the album, we get 2 intro tracks, which I really like because it's something different. We have 15 tracks on this album, 5 interludes, and I'll say 5 interludes because I'm counting the intro tracks too. But if we don't count those 5 tracks, then it's 10 actual songs. But yeah, the first 2 intro tracks first track is I Remember, which is basically a spoken word of Jeff Tate slash Nikki, saying, he remember, I don't remember how, like, everything started. He doesn't remember how the whole mission started. He just remembers doing what they tell them, which means he remembers what Dr. X basically told him to do. And then we have Anarchy X, which basically, well, we sort of get introduced to Dr. X in the third track, but Anarchy X is sort of the instrumental. It's sort of like the introduction to us of who this character is going to be, and yeah, and I like that it doesn't just show, it doesn't just tell the story in the lyrics. The music tells the story too. Like, the instrumental there is just so, like, bombastic, and it's, like, the perfect, like, sort of introduction to the whole album. Then we got Revolution Calling, which is very, very, very catchy. The chorus is very catchy. Basically, you get the first song about what the whole message is of this album. And then there's the underground revolution happening. And then we get the title track, Operation Mindcrime, which is probably I would say it's probably one of my favorite tracks on this. Which all of them are probably my favorite tracks. A lot of these QueensRyche tracks, especially from the Operation Mindcrime sort of Empire era, they're all really, really, really good. But I will say this is good. The chorus is catchy. Of the phone call intro, I don't know, just that phone call intro to me, even when I didn't listen, like, I knew about the album, I knew about the concept, but I didn't ever listen to the actual album. I just heard the song. Even when I just heard the song, that phone call intro where the phone is being answered is just Mindcrime. Like, it's so cryptic. It just sounds so cryptic. But it's really, really good. And then we have Speak, which is another really, really good track. And then, yeah, Speak, that is another good little thing. Then we got Spreading the Disease, which I like the spoken word sort of vocal part with the percussion mixed in there, in the middle of the song, closer to the end. Then we got The Mission, which is probably, I would actually say that's probably my favorite track on the album. The intro is good. Everything about the whole song is good. And then, like, lyrically, like, and conceptually, like, The Mission, it's the song that's about the mission, about Nikki trying to complete the mission. So I feel like it really sets the mood for the rest of what is going to happen in the album, conceptually. And so Mission is really, really good. And then we have Sweet Sister Mary, which basically is about it's basically the epic of the 10-minute epic on the album. The part where the clean guitar tone and then, like, the orchestra sort of part sort of come in. That's probably my favorite part of this track. And then, but, like, the whole song is basically about realizing Dr. X wants Nikki to kill Mary, and him trying to, talk to Mary, and Nikki trying to talk to Mary and trying to cope with that whole fact. And the epic just really, really shows, like, all the emotions that are going through Nikki and, Mary and their, like, perspectives and all that stuff. So, favorite part in that is the orchestra. Like I said, the orchestra, like, guitar tone little part, that clean guitar tone little part, and then the drums, like, come in, and then we get the last verse of the song. And I like the atmosphere of this song, too. Well, this whole album. I like the samples that are, like, included at the beginning of the mission, where this track, Sweet Sister Mary, like, it has the raining sort of sounds, which really sets the atmosphere. And so, yeah, just a really, really good song. Then we have The Needle Lies, which serves as like a really, really fast jam after the 10-minute sort of emotional epic. We get a really, really, really sort of fast song. This is at the point where Nikki is done. He wants out of all this shit, but of course Dr. X won't let him do that. So this song sort of is it's sort of a manipulation tactic, sort of to keep him trying to complete the whole mission, trying to keep Nikki to complete the whole mission, because like I said in the beginning of the video, before he got involved in Operation Mindcrime, Nikki was a drug addict, and he wanted to do something to try and turn his life around. And so this song is sort of like a message that Dr. X is trying to convey, like, oh, don't trust the needle, it lies. Nikki, we need to still complete the mission. You can't get out of this now. But other than that, the whole concept, the song, it's really, really catchy, and and I feel like the music sort of, I feel like those two songs, Sweet Sister Mary and the Needle Eyes, musically they show, like, the Needle Eyes is sort of like this short, sort of faster track. It's supposed to like show oh my gosh, I forgot what I was gonna say. It's supposed to show Nikki that even though Mary might be gone, she is dead, that the mission still must happen. And then we have Electric Requiem, which is the darkest song on the album. This is like a 1 minute and 30-second sort of interlude, and I really like the synth parts that they tried to incorporate into this song, mixed with like the guitar solo at the end and like the dark sort of like emotional vocals. Electric Requiem is like the perfect name for the song, because it shows what is happening to Nikki's character in that moment. Like, he has found out that Mary, like, his love, like, that Mary is dead, and there's really nothing he can do, like, and so he's like, he just wishes that he can be with her. It is so, like, emotional and so dark, but also at the same time, Mary was also used as sort of a manipulation thing as well by Dr. X, because, but then we have Breaking the Silence, which is sort of another emotional sort of track. It has a slow part, but it has the catchy chorus, which is really good. And then we have I Don't Believe in Love. And this is the point where Nikki, like, realizes, like, maybe he just, love to him is something that he can't believe in, because something that, there's always something bad that's going to happen that's trying to ruin that relationship. It's trying to ruin love. And in this instance, like Mary being gone, yes, we can always argue that Dr. X manipulated Nikki into getting with Mary and loving Mary and all this stuff. But if we think about it from Nikki's perspective, like, he was really in love with her by that point in the album, and then when you know, Dr. X tells Nikki that Mary is a risk and is going to jeopardize the whole entire mission, then once everything is done and Nikki is gone, and Mary is gone, then Nikki can't bear himself to, like, complete the mission anymore, and he doesn't even know, like, he doesn't even know to believe in love, because love was something that, love was something that was an emotion that he thought he could really trust, but in reality it was turned out bad, and you can't always trust everyone. So yeah, really really heartfelt song for me, but also, like, musically, probably one of my favorite songs on the track, because the verses are, like, literally, like, the chorus is like, I don't believe in love, but, like, the verses are also, like, Nikki at this point is under surveillance, and he's trying to run away from all the shit that he did. And so, yeah, really, 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 really emotional moments for Nikki, especially, like, this back half of this album. It is really, really emotional. Then we have Waiting for 22, which is the other instrumental interlude, which sort of has, like, this clean, doesn't have any drums, it doesn't have any bass, it just sort of has this clean, like, guitar tone, like, this clean guitar tone sort of sound, mixed with, like, the guitar solo part, which really, really sounds cool. Then we have My Empty Room, which is basically this other interlude, which sort of leads into Eyes of a Stranger. Like, at this point, Nikki is all alone. He doesn't have anyone. He doesn't have anyone he can go to. And yeah, we get to Eyes of a Stranger, which is the climax to the end of this album. And yeah, this track is also really, really good. This is, this is Nikki, like, in the mental institution and having dreams and nightmares about what he did and everything else. And I sort of like how the track ends too. It ends perfect, and it's a perfect way to end the album. You end the track with, like, this sort of dream sort of sound of, like, all the stuff that, like, because in that sample you have Operation Mindcrime, you have, like, a sort of snippet of that track, you have Speak in there, you have other things, and it's just all a jumbo, like, mumbo sort of thing, and that thing, like, fades into the track, and then it ends, like, the track. It's sort of like waking up from a dream. That's sort of what it reminds me of. And then like, the album sort of goes back into the first sort of thing, and then Nikki, to end the album again, says, I remember now. Like, what the fuck? It is so great. It is, like, how do you end an album so great like that? And that's where it needed to end. And I don't know why QueensRyche decided they needed to make an Operation Mindcrime 2, and then, of course, now Jeff Tate, he has his solo project, and then he's decided that he wanted to do Operation Mindcrime 3. Like, seriously, we don't need an Seriously, though, we don't need another Operation Mindcrime. Operation Mindcrime was perfect. The way it was. It was perfect the way that it was. I haven't even listened to Operation Mindcrime 2, so I don't even know, like, what Operation Mindcrime 2 is. I know there's some, like, new tracks, and then, Dr. X eventually gets killed. But other than that, I don't really know, everything about the album. So, yeah, that's pretty much my whole review on Operation Mindcrime. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.